The Kent Hovind story has been frightening for quite some time, and it's a story you may not have heard. So let's get into it.
He is not a child molester, never has been. He's a great Christian friend of mine.
Rack focus. Good afternoon, everyone. Johnny O from the Plot Hole, and we're here today with a special investigation into Kent Hovind and Dinosaur Adventureland. We're all aware of the many dishonest things that Kent Hovind has said over the years. He claims to be a doctor, yet he can't produce any documentation from any accredited university. In fact, the only documentation that he can produce comes from a known degree mill, Patriot Bible University. This, along with several other unsubstantiated claims, should be enough to deter even the most devout of supporters. However, Hovind's Dinosaur Adventureland, along with his Creation Science Ministries, has no shortage of followers and support. By now, we are all aware of the recent conviction for domestic violence. Warning, the audio here can be disturbing.
This is my house.
Damn phone.
What are you doing, Cindy? Why would you jump on me and grab me, Cindy?
This isn't the first time that Hovind has been in trouble for domestic violence. On August 15th of 2002 in Escambia County, Hovind was arrested for burglary, assault, and battery. Those charges were later dropped. What do all these have in common, you might ask? Anyone who's paid any kind of attention to Kent Hovind has heard him often proclaim that he's innocent of all charges and that he's been unfairly targeted by the government. Hovind went so far as to sue the federal government for $500 million, which was summarily dismissed with prejudice. Hovind also claims that the altercation with his third wife was self-defense. What are we seeing here? We're seeing a man who has a difficulty accepting responsibility for his actions. Keep that in mind. Let's pause the Hovind issues for a moment and take a look at Chris Jones. Christopher L. Jones is a convicted sex offender who Kent Hovind has stated several times is innocent of the crimes that a jury of his peers convicted him. Hovind says it's a tactic to discredit Jones by the Hollywood elite. Without getting into too many details, Chris Jones was convicted on March 12, 2008 of 4 out of 7 counts. 1 count lewd or lascivious acts with a minor and 3 counts lewd or lascivious acts with a minor under the age of 14. According to the appeal filed by Jones, the court found that these charges were, and I quote, supported by substantial evidence. The appeal decision further explains that ample evidence showed defendant constructively touched the boys during the strip poker game. Defendant instigated the strip poker game, coerced them into playing by promising them they could watch a movie, and directed them to undress during the game. Furthermore, substantial evidence also shows defendant orchestrated the strip poker game with the specific intent to gratify his sexual desires. Now, many would think that this in itself would be enough to convince anyone of a person's guilt. Not Hovind. In fact, Hovind had this to say about Chris Jones.
So it's been interesting to see the comments. I posted a Facebook comment yesterday, I think it was, about someone had a YouTube up about me about a friend of mine named Chris Jones. I'm not going to do, he did take it down, so I'm not going to do a long program on that. However, Chris Jones has been a friend of mine for many, many years. I've known he was railroaded completely by the system because he knew things about what happened at the jail. They threw him in jail for absolutely no reason. The guards beat him unconscious. When he got released later to await trial for this false charge they brought him up on, the guards beat another prisoner and beat him to death. And so the guards at the prison were claiming, and the U.S. attorney, district attorney, whatever it was, was claiming, well, this is a one-time incident. And Chris was going to testify, no, it's not. This is routinely what they do. And so they had to shut him up somehow. So they made up these wild charges from an incident from 5 years earlier, I believe it was. Anyway, it was insane. So it's all over. Forget it. Drop it. The story is not, the people who are reporting the story do not know the facts, and the people who think that I am somehow wrong for defending a child molester do not know the fact. He is not a child molester, never has been. He's a great Christian friend of mine.
That's right. Hovind uses the same tactics of deflection, dishonesty, and misdirection in order to defend his longtime friend. In a phone call, Hovind admits to knowing about the strip poker incident. However, he stated that because the boys only got down to their underwear, that no crime was committed. Hovind states that we don't know the facts. Well, fact. Christopher L. Jones was convicted in a court of law of 4 counts relating to child molestation and pedophilia. Fact. Kent Hovind acknowledged that the strip poker game happened, as evidenced here with a phone call between Hovind and truck-driving Kid Billy.
Known him for years. Great guy.
And honestly, my biggest issue is if, he should have knew better than to, do that kind of game with kids, though. That's my biggest issue.
Well, he lived there. You need to give him a chance to defend himself. He lived with his family. He knew these boys. They were just horsing around, like 10 or 11 years old, doing. I don't know exact details, but let him defend himself. Anyway.
After Kid Billy released his series of videos on Chris Jones, Jones left him this voicemail.
Hey, yo, Billy, this is Chris. I talked to you the other day when you were Kent. You gave me a call on your phone. Anyways, he called me a while ago and said that he told you a little bit about my case, and you had a very negative reaction to it. And, hang on, I'm driving. There's an incident right here. Yeah, but, man, you can't judge my stuff. You don't even know what happened. And number 2, what's that have to do with Kent? First of all, I should have got more maybe intel before I made this phone call. But you know about the whole Bohemian Grove stuff. Hopefully, I went to Bohemian Grove trying to document the government's corruption and satanic worship. And basically, as retribution, I was framed. I sent you a link from a former head of the FBI who had testified in my trial that I was being framed. But yeah, my actual crime, if you want to know what the technical crime was, it was throwing a 11-year-old boy in the pool in his underwear. That's my big sex crime. But yeah, that sex offender stuff does kind of set people off. And I told Kent not to, I guess he didn't understand how people get upset. But anyways, it was 13 years ago. Even if I am guilty, hopefully the blood of Christ works. At least you're not questioning that. Blood of Christ works, man. We're all forgiven and cleaned up. And anyway, we don't have to be friends, but I hope, my association with Kent should carry no animosity on that direction. Anyway, wish you all the best. Shalom.
Even if I'm guilty. And no, Chris Jones, your big sex crimes were lewd and lascivious acts with minors. Let's change gears for a second. Kent Hovind owns and operates Dinosaur Adventureland. Dinosaur Adventureland serves as home to many who work there, and many of those workers have families who live on property. Hovind has housed Jones at Dinosaur Adventureland. In fact, Kent Hovind says that Chris Jones has an open invitation to return anytime he wishes. Yes, Kent Hovind had Tier 3 registered sex offender Chris Jones stay at Dinosaur Adventureland, where small children live. Hovind also boasts that Dinosaur Adventureland sees many visitors a year. Now, what could go wrong with this situation? Allegedly, Chris Jones brought a minor child to Dinosaur Adventureland. Even though Kent Hovind first denied the child's attendance, there's no question that Zaire was there and Kent Hovind knew about it.
All right, good to have you all here. Zaire visiting from Georgia, did I say it right? And you got to see, let's see, feed the turtle today, got to feed the rabbits, got to feed the emus, and you want to say hi to Mom, right, Zaire? Come on, get up here and say hi to Mom. Okay.
So.
Wait, you're not done yet. You're not done yet. Come on, you got to be a movie star right here. Look at the camera and say hi, Mom.
Hey.
Okay.
November 19th of 2019, Paul Hansen, a trustee of Creation Science Evangelism, allegedly found Chris Jones and Zaire in bed together. And as of this recording, I cannot confirm the location of Zaire. According to Hovind, Jones states that Zaire is safe and sound back home. I haven't been able to verify this. Hovind has been incredibly tight-lipped about the scenario. And remember,
I also have a ministry to protect.
That is a lie from the pit of hell.
I don't have a ministry to protect.
And then there's Brady Byram. Byram handles several of Kent Hovind's legal issues, and he runs the Kent Hovind is Innocent website and YouTube channel. He's not a lawyer as far as I can tell. According to his son, as evidenced in this conversation with Mark Stoney, Brady Byram has a sketchy past. According to his son, Byram isn't welcome in his own family because of the alleged molestation of his daughter, a niece, and other family members. Last, but certainly not least, Mark Stoney alleges that Kent Hovind had his 5-year-old daughter give him full-body massages without Stoney's knowledge or consent. Stoney alleges that Cindy Lincoln, Kent Hovind's former spouse, and an unnamed female witness have confirmed these massages took place. Could this be one of the things that Cindy Lincoln was going to blow the whistle on? And this is where we are left. With Hovind due to serve 30 days in county lockup on a year-long prison sentence, who's going to watch the flock at Dinosaur Adventureland? Will Chris Jones continue to have unsupervised access to Dinosaur Adventureland? Will the many who call Dinosaur Adventureland home continue to look the other way while a convicted pedophile and an alleged pedophile roam grooming their next victims? Will this be enough to finally put a stop to the support that Kent Hovind receives? One can only hope. As for this investigation, I can't say that it's closed. There are still several other pieces of information and evidence that I'm sifting through looking for all the pieces. This is a many-headed hydra that has become almost impossible to tackle by myself. So please do keep a lookout for future videos on this channel and several others. In the meantime, if you still support Kent Hovind, I would implore you to take a look at all the evidence that has been presented in this video and the several other videos that are out there. Many other people have highlighted the many transgressions of Kent Hovind. And that's our show today. I do want to send a special shout out to all my channel members and patrons for your continued support. It means the world to me. If you want to get involved, I have links in the description box down below. Yes, the beard is still pink, which means we're still raising money for breast cancer awareness. The pink fund links are also down in the description box should you wish to get involved. As always, I'm Johnny O, and I'll be sure to keep you updated as the plot thickens.